Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going on a deep dive, into French literature through Voltaire's satirical novel, L'Ingenue.
Oh, yeah. This one is a classic.
It is. It's going to give all of you out there a taste, I think, of the humor, the social commentary, and the philosophical depth that makes Voltaire such an influential figure.
That's right.
You've been on this journey with us before, so I'm really excited to have you back to talk about L'Ingenue. What is it about this book that makes it so compelling to read even now, centuries after it was first published?
Well, I think Voltaire uses this classic trope, the stranger in a strange land, to critique 17th century France.
Oh, yeah.
And through the Ingenue, he's a young Huron who was raised in Native American culture.
Right.
We see French society's customs and contradictions through this fresh, often humorous lens.
Yeah, and the opening scene is so charming. I mean, a prior and his sister, they're strolling by the sea.
Right.
This English ship arrives, and this handsome young Huron, he leaps ashore.
Like, jumps right off.
Yeah, and that's our introduction to the Ingenue.
It is, and it immediately establishes his character.
Yeah.
He's physically impressive, naturally charismatic, and refreshingly straightforward.
It's interesting, too, and he carries these two small portraits.
Yeah.
And they were given to him by his Huron nurse.
Right.
And he believes they hold the key to his happiness.
Oh, wow.
They turn out to be images of the prior's long-lost brother and his wife, who disappeared years ago in Huron lands.
Oh. That's a great twist.
Isn't it?
It is.
It is. It's so interesting.
It adds this layer of complexity to the ingenue's identity. He's not just a visitor anymore.
Exactly.
He's grappling with this newfound European heritage.
Yeah.
It raises these interesting questions about identity and belonging.
So we have this Huron who was raised in a completely different culture.
Yeah.
And he's suddenly thrust into the heart of 17th century France.
Right into it.
I imagine there are some pretty significant cultural clashes.
Oh, there are. And Voltaire uses those clashes to highlight these absurdities of French customs.
Give me an example.
For example, during a dinner, the ingenue is bombarded with these questions from guests.
Oh, no.
And he exclaims, he says, "Gentlemen, in my country, people speak one after the other. How do you expect me to answer you when you prevent me from hearing you?"
It makes perfect sense.
It does.
It's a very Huron response, right?
Very much so. Direct and practical.
Yeah. But his journey goes beyond navigating social norms.
It does.
He falls deeply in love with his godmother.
His godmother?
Yes, Mademoiselle de Saint-Yves.
Oh, wow.
And insists on being baptized immediately so that they can marry.
Oh, so this where Voltaire's critique of religious institutions comes out.
I was just going to say what happens.
Well, the ingenue wants to be baptized in a river like the biblical eunuch of the Queen Candace, much to the dismay of his family.
Of course.
It's a humorous situation, but it also points to a critique of the rigidity and the hypocrisy that Voltaire saw within the church.
It seems like Voltaire is using humor to expose this underbelly of French society.
I think so.
What are some of his other targets?
Well, he targets a lot of aspects of French society, from the complexities of the legal system to the corruption within the court.
It's so interesting how some of these themes resonate even today.
It's true.
Societal hypocrisy and the abuse of power. Unfortunately, they seem to be timeless issues.
They really do.
Ingenue isn't just a social commentary, though.
No, it's not.
It's an engaging story. How does the ingenue who defends the French coast from the English end up imprisoned in the Bastille?
Well, his impulsiveness plays a role. After his heroic actions, he learns that Saint-Yves has been sent to a convent.
Oh, no.
And determined to free her, he attempts to force his way in.
That sounds like a recipe for disaster.
It is. His actions are seen as a threat to order, and through the machinations of this gossipy official and this Jesuit spy, he's imprisoned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this situation allows Voltaire to highlight this arbitrary nature of justice and the power of authority to silence dissent.
Yeah. Voltaire contrasts the ingenue's natural sense of justice with the often unjust realities of the French legal system.
Right.
But inside the Bastille, the ingenue meets this fascinating character.
Yes.
The Jansenist Gordon.
Gordon. Yeah.
He becomes his cellmate and intellectual sparring partner.
What a pairing.
It is. The ingenue's natural reason challenges Gordon's deeply ingrained beliefs.
Right.
They have all these debates about philosophy, religion, the nature of truth. His imprisonment becomes a catalyst for his intellectual and emotional growth. So it's not just a physical imprisonment, it's a clash of ideologies as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He devours books, grasps complex concepts quickly, and begins to to question the dogma he's been taught.
It seems that Voltaire is making a statement about the power of knowledge, even within a prison cell.
I think so.
And while this intellectual awakening is happening,
Yeah.
Saint-Yves embarks on her own journey, one that tests her limits and reveals her character.
She doesn't remain in the convent pining away for the ingenue.
Not at all. She escapes and sets out for Versailles, determined to plead for his release.
Wow.
She encounters this world of corruption and moral compromise far beyond anything she could have imagined.
That's where we'll have to pause for now.
Yeah.
In part 2, we'll delve into Saint-Yves' experiences and the difficult choices that she faces. Saint-Yves' journey to Versailles, it's a stark contrast to the ingenue's intellectual awakening back in the Bastille.
Yeah, you've got him in the prison grappling with these abstract ideas.
Yeah.
And then she's going through the ringer with these harsh realities of power and compromise.
Yes.
She goes from the innocence of the convent to the intrigue and manipulation of the court.
Talk about a crash course.
It really is. And through her struggles, Voltaire exposes this hypocrisy at the heart of French society.
He does.
Saint-Yves is this devout young woman.
Right.
And now she's forced to contemplate actions that go against her very moral code.
And it raises this question for us. How much are you willing to sacrifice for what you believe is right, especially for the person you love?
And her own brother tries to stop her.
He does.
He wants to protect her reputation.
Of course.
And secure a good marriage for her.
Right.
So he tries to get a lettre de cachet to send her back to the convent.
Wow.
I mean, she really can't catch a break.
She can't.
Can you explain what a lettre de cachet is for our listener?
Sure. So it's essentially a royal warrant that allows for imprisonment or confinement without a trial.
Sounds pretty arbitrary.
It was often used that way, as a tool of control.
So Saint-Yves finds herself caught between the church, her family, and powerful men who are all trying to exploit her desperation.
She's in a tough spot.
She is. It's amazing that she doesn't give up entirely.
Well, she shows this remarkable resilience. I mean, she uses her wit and her charm to navigate this treacherous world of the court.
And she manages to get an audience with a powerful figure.
She does.
Who could overturn the ingenue's imprisonment. There's that glimmer of hope. But we know that freedom often comes at a price.
It does.
So what does this powerful figure demand from Saint-Yves?
This is where Voltaire's critique of power becomes even more biting.
Oh, really?
The official, his name is Saint-Punge.
Okay.
He's interested in Saint-Yves herself and makes it clear that her lover's freedom depends on her granting him certain favors.
So she's being punished for trying to do the right thing.
It's a deeply unsettling situation, and Voltaire doesn't shy away from its complexities.
Right.
Saint-Yves is torn in seeking guidance.
Who does she turn to?
Well, she seeks guidance from her devout friend.
Okay.
And surprisingly, the friend encourages her to give in arguing that these compromises are simply how the world works.
Her friend condones this behavior. What about someone who's supposed to be providing moral guidance?
I think it reflects a pragmatic, even cynical view of power.
Okay.
That existed within certain circles of society.
Does she speak to anyone else?
She seeks advice from a Jesuit priest who attempts to justify the act through some convoluted religious reasoning.
So the entire system is rigged against her.
It seems that way.
So what does she do? Does she give in?
She does, but Voltaire frames her decision not as a moral failing, but as this tragic act of self-sacrifice.
Of course, she's faced with this impossible choice.
She is.
Her love remains in prison.
Right.
Or she succumbs to this corrupt bargain.
And she chooses the latter.
It's a devastating choice. But I can understand why she felt she had no other option.
Right.
It really speaks to the depth of her love for him and the desperation of her situation.
Voltaire really emphasizes Saint-Yves' inner turmoil.
Right.
I mean, she's not simply making a calculated decision.
Yeah.
She's deeply conflicted. She's feeling both shame and determination to save the man that she loves.
So she makes the sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
What happens next? Does she secure the ingenue's release?
She does. Armed with the necessary documents, she rushes to the Bastille and pleads with the governor, who's a compassionate man. And the reunion between Saint-Yves and the ingenue, it's powerful.
I bet.
It's filled with joy and relief.
But of course, Saint-Yves is carrying all this hidden anguish.
She is.
It's a bittersweet victory, tinged with the knowledge of what she endured. Does the ingenue ever find out the truth?
That's a question that goes to the heart of Voltaire's exploration of innocence and experience.
Well, that's interesting.
The ingenue notices Saint-Yves' sadness and asks how she secured his release.
Okay.
But she avoids revealing the full extent of her ordeal.
So he remains oblivious, unaware of her sacrifice. Is that intentional on Voltaire's part?
It highlights this contrast in perspectives.
How so?
Well, the ingenue, he's still somewhat naive despite all of his intellectual growth.
Yeah.
He sees the world in black and white.
Okay.
He focuses on justice and truth and the purity of his love for Saint-Yves. He doesn't comprehend the compromises that govern the world outside the Bastille.
So while Saint-Yves has faced the harsh realities, the ingenue still clings to his ideals of honesty and straightforwardness.
I think so.
And this difference in perspective
Yeah.
is further highlighted.
Right.
When the ingenue, upon his release, insists that Saint-Yves also secure the freedom of his friend Gordon,
Oh!
using her influence with the same official.
He has no idea what he's asking of her.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
This request forces Saint-Yves to confront the man who holds her secret.
It does.
So how does that go?
This time, however, she refuses his advances, declaring that she'll never see him again.
Good for her.
This act of defiance, it marks a turning point.
So even within this corrupt system, she reclaims some of her agency.
Right.
What happens next? Is there a happy ending for them?
That wouldn't be a very Voltairean ending.
I guess not.
Well, the ingenue Gordon and their families, they rejoice in their reunion.
Right.
Saint-Yves' sacrifice begins to take its toll.
So this is not going to end well for her.
Tragically, Saint-Yves falls ill.
Oh.
And the emotional turmoil that she's experienced, it culminates in this decline that even the ingenue's newfound knowledge can't combat.
It's heartbreaking. I mean, she went through so much to save him, to secure justice, and now she's paying the ultimate price.
Her death is a reminder of the human cost of corruption and the enduring power of love and sacrifice.
It sounds like a profoundly moving ending. Does the ingenue ever learn the truth about what she did for him?
That is where we will pick up in part 3 of our deep dive.
Oh.
We'll explore the aftermath of Saint-Yves' death and its lasting impact on the ingenue and those around him.
We left off with the tragic death of Saint-Yves. I mean, her sacrifice saved the ingenue and Gordon, but at a terrible cost as the tone of l'Ingenue stay for playful.
The death of Saint-Yves really marks a turning point in the novel.
Okay.
The satirical wit gives way to this more somber reflection on love and sacrifice and the consequences of societal corruption.
So the ingenue's journey kind of mirrors the novel's overall tone. He starts as this innocent, almost comical figure, but as he experiences the darker aspects of French society, he becomes more, introspective.
It's true.
And we were left wondering if he ever discovers the truth about Saint-Yves' sacrifice, to secure his freedom.
Right.
Does Voltaire provide an answer?
He leaves it deliberately ambiguous.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some believe the ingenue likely deduces the truth based on his understanding of courtly intrigue and hints from those around him.
So he never explicitly confronts anyone about it.
No, and that silence is significant.
What do you think it means?
I think it suggests a newfound maturity. A recognition that some truths are too painful to unearth.
Yeah.
The ingenue who was so insistent on directness and clarity
Right.
now understands that sometimes silence can be a form of respect, a way of protecting Saint-Yves' memory.
It's a bittersweet realization.
It is.
It shows that he's lost that naive innocence that he arrived with.
Yeah.
So how does he cope with all this grief? Does he stay in France?
He does for a time. He continues his intellectual pursuits, finding comfort in knowledge and the company of Gordon.
Okay.
But this profound sadness kind of permeates his existence. There's this sense of disillusionment with the world that he now understands so well.
Yeah, he gained all this knowledge and experience, but it came at such a high price.
That's true, and Voltaire leaves the ingenue's ultimate fate open-ended.
Oh, really?
Some readers believe that he returns to his native Huron lands, seeking refuge from the complexities of European society.
I could see that happening.
Huh.
A return to his roots after this whirlwind journey, of discovery and heartbreak.
Yeah.
What a powerful and thought-provoking story.
L'Ingenue, it works on multiple levels. It's a captivating adventure,
Right.
a sharp social satire, and a meditation on the human condition. It explores this clash between innocence and experience, the enduring power of love and sacrifice.
Yeah, this deep dive into Voltaire's world has given me a new appreciation for French literature and how it tackles these timeless questions.
Yeah, exploring literature from different cultures and time periods allows us to see the world through new eyes,
Yeah.
challenge our assumptions, and connect with human experiences that transcend time and place.
It's remarkable that even though centuries separate us from Voltaire's world,
I know.
the themes that he explored, the abuse of power, the complexities of love, the search for truth and meaning, they still resonate today.
That's what makes great literature so powerful.
It does. So for our listener who has just experienced this whirlwind tour of L'Ingenuous,
Yeah.
what's the key takeaway? What should they ponder as they finish this literary adventure?
I think it comes back to the ingenuous transformation. He arrived as this innocent outsider full of idealism.
Right.
But through his experiences with love and loss and corruption, he develops this more nuanced understanding of the world. He learns that truth can be elusive, justice can be arbitrary, and even the purest love can be tainted by compromise.
Wow.
Yet he never loses his compassion or desire to make the world a better place.
It's interesting. We are all on this journey of transformation, right? Navigating the complexities of our own worlds.
We are.
Maybe like the ingenue, we can hold on to our ideals and compassion, even as we face life's, inevitable disappointments and compromises.
That's a great thought.
And maybe this deep dive has sparked an interest in exploring more of French literature.
I hope so. There's a world of stories out there waiting to be discovered.
That's a wonderful thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into L'Ingenue. Until next time.